episode of Crochet Business Chat. Welcome, everyone. Happy to have you here this morning. Hope you are enjoying your Monday. We are going to talk today about a trending product and whether you should jump on board with this trend or pass it by. So we're going to be talking about I'm going to say the word, the Hacky Sack trend. Or we're going to call them footbags because you'll find out why. So welcome if you've been seeing this trend everywhere and wondering if it's the next best thing for you to offer in your handmade seller crochet business, then stick around. We're going to chat about it. So again, welcome. My name is Pam Grice, Crochetpreneur. I am on a mission to help 100,000 makers build financial freedom through crochet. And this is just another step in that process. If you are new here, be sure to subscribe. Anyone who's here watching live, be sure to like this video so it gets pushed out to more people. We get more people joining us. And we'll get started in just a second after I take a sip. I have a fly that is pestering me this morning, and you may see him. I just saw it fly across the screen. So maybe every time you see the fly, take a drink of coffee. All right. Let's get rolling. I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to be talking about this trend. So, should I share this screen or this screen or this screen? Let's do this one. Okay. Now, let me grab. All right, welcome back to Crochet Business Chat. Again, I'm glad you're here. Today we're going to be talking about something that has the crochet community on full buzz mode right now, and I want to help you think about it strategically before you grab your hook and start making circles. So you've probably been seeing it. People asking in Facebook groups, posting on TikTok, searching Etsy. Should I sell crochet hacky sacks? Are these a things? Can I make money with these? And I get it as, someone who built their business on a trend way back in the day. When a keyword starts trending, it genuinely feels like the marketplace is handing you a golden ticket. The demand is right there. The internet is practically screaming at you to make this product. But before you grab your crochet thread and a bag of rice and your fastest sphere pattern, we need to have a conversation. So, because I want you to understand that this trend is not as simple as crochet a ball, list it on Etsy, and make money. There are legal issues, customer expectation issues, safety and performance issues, material issues, and the bigger question that every single business owner needs before jumping on this trend, and that is this actually right for your shop, or are you just chasing a shiny object because everyone else is running toward it? So today we're going to break all of this down. And my goal isn't to tell you what to do, what not to do. All right. My goal is to make sure that if you sell this product, that you do it the right way as the CEO of your business, not just as yet another crocheter with a crochet hook jumping on a trend. So let's get into it. Footbags are having a moment. So let's talk about why this is actually a thing right now. So footbags, which you might know as hacky sacks, are having a genuine retro revival with Gen Z right now. We're seeing a bigger pattern of sort of low-tech, tactile, and in-person fun making a comeback. These kids have grown up with tech in their hand and in front of their faces for so long that I think they're itching for some real stuff. And hacky sacks, fidget toys, friendship bracelets, even those old hand clapping games that we played in elementary school are all making a comeback. So this trend is being fueled by TikTok and Instagram, where videos of people doing footbag tricks are racking up really big views. So it's showing up in school culture. Kids are playing in the hallways and at lunch and at recess, which means parents are suddenly searching for this product. And once shoppers start searching for a particular keyword on Etsy, Etsy sellers notice, right? The crochet community did what crocheters do, and they saw it, they loved it, and they said, we can make that, which is true because traditionally hacky sacks do come in a crochet version. But here's the business lesson buried beneath all of this. Keyword demand can create opportunity, but it can also create a stampede. And stampedes are not always profitable for everyone involved. Think of LuLaRoe, will you? Think back, I don't know, 10, 15 years. I don't know, was it that long ago? When LuLaRoe popped on the scene and everybody jumped on board, right? And the majority of the people who were selling LuLaRoe made the investment but did not make the profits, right? It's the people who hop in early, the people who hop in well, who have the marketing chops to get noticed that actually make the money, and everyone else suffers because they jumped on a trend. So let's look at the real issues here, the things that you need to know before you join the rush. Okay. Issue number one is the name is a problem. So we're going to start with the truth that the word hacky sack is not a generic product name. It's a registered trademark. I can use it here because I'm educating and I'm creating commentary about a product. I'm not actually trying to sell something that replicates that product. So I'm not like stealing a trademark. But when you use it in your descriptions or your keywords for your product, now you're stepping into legally challenging area, right? I know it feels like just a casual word. People say it all the time, kind of like Kleenex and Band-Aid, which are also trademarked. Legally, Hacky Sack is a brand name owned by a specific company. When you use it in your Etsy listing title, your tags, your product description, or anywhere in your shop without permission, it puts your shop at risk. So the thing is that Etsy is telling people Hacky Sack is a trending keyword. Sure, because trending keywords come from the searches that people are actually making. People are searching for hacky sacks, only you're not allowed to use that term in your listing, right? So just because it's trending doesn't mean you can use it, right? So we're talking potential takedown notices, possible account flags, and it's just not worth it. So here's just a quick legal disclaimer. I'm not an attorney. None of this is legal advice, but as a business owner, you need to know when a word is a brand name and when using it could create risk for your shop. So the good news is the product category has a perfectly good generic name. It's called a footbag. And there are some other terms that you can use safely. So crochet footbag, handmade footbag, kicking bag, crochet juggling footbag, foot toy, or retro footbag toy. So any of those would work as your keywords, but none of them carry the trademark risk, but they're also not trending keywords. So now you're stuck in a bind, right? So you need to just understand that as you go forward with this. So make the swap now to use a legally available word before you make the item, but also understand that people are not looking for footbag. So unless Etsy algorithm translates a hacky sack search into a footbag search, people are not going to be finding your product the way that they would if you could use that term. So it's just important to understand that. Okay, next. This is a functional product. Here's where you need to shift our thinking a little bit, because a footbag is not like a hat or a handbag or even a stuffy. It is a functional product that people use for a specific activity. And that means customers have performance expectations. So there are Hacky Sack competitions, and there are official weights and official specifications around the product that if you're going to make it and you're going to sell it as something comparable to the original, it needs to meet those same specifications. So customers are going to expect a foot bag to have the right weight, not too light, not too heavy. They expect it to stall on the foot the right way, right? When you're playing this game and you catch the bag on your foot, they expect it to land in a way that's predictable, right? They expect it to hold its shape after repeated use. They need it to survive actual kicking without falling apart. They need the filling to stay inside the bag. And they want it to feel consistent. If they order again, or if they order multiple as gifts, they need to all feel the same. So now here's the problem. If you peek at what's currently being listed on Etsy under this trend, you'll find sellers using plastic pellets, rice, corn, aquarium gravel, dried beans, other mystery pantry items, and calling them all the same product. They're not the same product. The customer may not be able to articulate exactly what's wrong when they receive one that doesn't perform, but they will always know that something is off. And that translates into reviews that say, didn't work the way I expected, this thing felt cheap, and nobody wants those kind of reviews. So that brings us over to issue number 3. Fillers are serious business. So let's talk about what goes inside these things, because there are some real problems with the most commonly used fillers and a few things you should be considering as a business owner. So what to avoid and why. Avoid rice. It attracts pests, it absorbs moisture, and it causes odor and degradation over time. Kids leave their stuff outside all the time. So if you leave a hacky sack outside and it's filled with rice, guess what happens, right? The rice absorbs the water. Now you have a problem, okay? Using corn and beans can attract critters. Mold. It can swell. It can shift in ways that affect performance. Sand can leak through the crochet stitches if the bag isn't properly contained, and sand goes everywhere. All right, loose, small beads inside the bag. Some people are using pony beads, and this is a big one. These can create a choking hazard if the bag ever opens, or if a child gets a hold of the bag and pries open the stitches to get the filling out. I don't know if you've ever done that with your beanbag chair when you were a kid. But it happens. And so being able to prevent that is really important. All right. And then heavy fillers can actually hurt someone when the bag is kicked or tossed. Some people are using, from what I understand, like buckshot or things like that, that are heavy and that play nicely with the bag, but it can create it to be so heavy that if someone gets hit with it, they like to hit it with their head and things like that, that could cause a problem. And then organic fillers create additional concerns around shipping, storage, humidity, and the customer's home environment with allergens and things like that. So some better practices. Better practices would be use washable, non-food, non-organic fillings. Specifically designed poly pellets or similar materials are popular choices. So like I said, pony bees are actually a good option. Consider using an inner liner or a pouch to contain the filling before the outer crochet layer. So you could use an old nylon or something like that you are able to tie and tuck in. Now you don't want it to impact the way that if you land on that part of the ball rather than the other part of the ball, how it performs. So you got to test it. All right, test every bag for leakage. Weigh your finished items so you're producing a consistent product. Typically, users are looking for 50 to 60 grams. That's the standard of what it should weigh when it's finished. All right, include care instructions and clear age recommendations with every single order. Remember that you're selling a toy, and that brings up certain liability issues and consumer safety issues. Remember that this kind of product development work is what separates a shop that gets great reviews from one that gets frustrated returns. Okay, other considerations you might not have considered. So, beyond the big three that we just spoke of, there are several more things worth thinking through before you create a listing. Again, like I just said, liability. This is a product people physically kick around. Is it durable enough? Could the stitches fail? Could a child open it? That's worth thinking about. And checking with the Consumer Product Safety Commission is always a good idea. You're going to have to cover yourself with age limitations and product safety information on the finished product. Consistency. If you can't reproduce the same weight, size, and feel every time, your reviews are going to be inconsistent, and that hurts your shop over time. You're looking for, like I said, 50 to 60 grams in weight and a size that is less than 2.5 diameters. All right. Pricing. Trending products tend to attract a race to the bottom. So there's lots of sellers, lots of undercutting. So you're going to need to know your numbers, what you need to actually price this item at in order to make a profit before you actually start selling. Check out how long it takes you to make the thing. What is your supply costs, all of those things, and come up with a price that you need to charge, and then decide if that's a price that the market can bear. If it's not, then don't make it. Okay. Next, saturation. If hundreds of sellers list the same thing in the same week, it becomes much harder to stand out, and the algorithm has a lot more to work with before it gets to your listing. So if this product becomes oversaturated, which I suspect that it will or is now, that creates a problem. If everyone else at the market is selling the same thing, that creates a problem, right? There's no differentiation, so you can't charge. There's no perceived value of the item. It's all a race to the bottom. It becomes a commodity. Next is durability. Crochet stitches stretch, seams and finishing matter more here than they do with a decorative item. And then platform risk. As we talked about, trademark wording in titles and tags can trigger takedowns, so always double check. All right, so I know that all of that is a lot, but the thing is, again, I don't tell you all of this to scare you off. I'm trying to tell you this because you're a business owner, and business owners look at the full picture. So we're just trying to create the full picture. Let's take a look at the pros and cons. So here's the honest truth about trends. Trends are not the enemy. I want to be really clear about that. Done well, a trend can be genuinely smart for your business. So let's look at the upsides. Quick visibility. There's existing search demand, means you don't have to educate anyone about what the product is, except when that search is trademarked. Lower barrier to conversion. Buyers who are already looking for this are warm buyers. So they're actually looking to buy this thing. So they're coming with money ready to buy. All right. There is a lower barrier to conversion. Yeah, I already said that. So it brings new people into your shop who might consider your other products, which is great. If they can see this and then see other products that might also be in the same sort of category of tactile, physical items that people can play with, great. It's great for learning and testing market timing, and content around trending products tend to perform well on social media. Okay. And then the real risks. You may build around short-lived demand. Trends fade, sometimes faster than listing gains traction. Trend buyers are often bargain hunters, so not your ideal long-term customers. Again, the race to the bottom on pricing is a real thing. You may spend significant time and energy on a product that doesn't actually align with your brand, and you might be late. By the time your listing has SEO traction, the trend may have already peaked. The strategic question to ask yourself is, can this product lead buyers into the rest of my shop, or is this a one-off that distracts me from what I'm actually building? I think we've all been distracted by a trend that is actually off-brand at some point in our business journey. So, 8 questions to ask yourself first. How to decide whether this is right for you. Before you start your first magic ring, I want you to work through these 8 questions and be honest with yourself. Does this product fit my shop's brand and audience? Can I make it safely and consistently? Can I describe it in my listing without using trademarked language? Do I actually understand what buyers expect from this product functionally? Can I price it profitably, not just competitively? Can I make it better, cuter, more giftable, or more aligned with my specific brand than what everyone else has out there? Have I actually tested it before I list it? And am I making a strategic business choice, or am I panic crocheting because everyone else is running toward this keyword? So that last question is the one I want you to really sit with the longest. Panic crocheting or desperation selling is real. And when we get into that space, we start to make poor decisions, right? I understood this from the book called The Road Less Stupid by Josh Cunningham. It's called Stupid Tax. And it happens when we become desperate or when we panic. Like everyone else is doing it, I've got to do it too, without thinking things through. So I just want you to think things through, because maybe it is the right decision for your business. And that would be great, but maybe it's not. So panic crocheting is expensive. It's expensive. It costs you time. It costs you materials. It costs you focus. And then if you don't sell, it costs you sort of emotional wellness, right? We don't want to do that. So here is a smarter way to approach this trend. So if you've gone through those questions and you feel pulled toward this product, here's how to do it with intention. So make a small test batch first, not 30, okay? A handful. And I heard from someone yesterday after I sent out a teaser for this podcast that said, yeah, I made a bunch of these. I brought them to a craft fair and I sold one. And now the rest of them are sitting here in a clearance bin, just sitting there at my craft fairs. It wasn't the right fit for her business. Okay. So make a test batch. List them as handmade crochet footbags or whatever unique keyword you can come up with. Test different fillers and weights with these test items. See which ones work best for you and for your people. Have real people actually kick them and tell them how they feel. People who know what they're talking about. Create a consistent recipe, right? The same thread, the same hook, the same size, the same weight, maybe the same liner. All right. Photograph them in use. Action photos perform much better than action photos perform better than static photos for functional products. All right. Add clear care instruction and age recommendations to your listings, and check with the Consumer Product Safety Commission about what is required in your country or your locale. And then track views, favorites, sales, reviews, and any questions from buyers. Let all of that data make the decision for you. All right. And the last one there is key. Don't make a final call about whether this deserves more of your energy until you have actual data. The market will tell you whether this works in your shop if you let it tell you. All right. But you have to look at that information. And for designers, and if you're looking at designing these products as well, consider, how do I make it different? How do I make it attract my audience? How do I answer these questions for them? I'll do the testing. I'll do the ensuring it's a safe product. I'll ensure that it creates a consistent outcome. I'll do all of that work for them, and it will make your product more attractive to your ideal audience. All right. Oh, my stomach's growling. So here's what I want to land with you today. I'm not telling you not to sell a foot bag, right? I'm telling you to sell it as a CEO, not as someone who spotted a trending keyword and jumped on it. Business owners don't blindly chase every shiny keyword. They evaluate the opportunity, they protect their shops, they think about the customer experience, they consider profit, positioning, risk, and repeatability. So maybe crochet the foot bag, but don't just crochet the ball. Build the product, test it, name it, price it, and make absolutely sure it belongs in your business that you're actually trying to build. Okay, I hope that is helpful as you think about whether this is the trend for you. All right, if this episode helped you think more strategically about your crochet business, about how to evaluate opportunity, how to protect yourself, and how to make CEO level decisions, I want to invite you to come join us inside the Crochetpreneur Business Academy. The wait list is open now, and we'll be opening the doors later next month if you're watching this live, which right now it's June 2026. Okay? So the wait list is open. Inside CBA, we talk all about these trends, pricing, positioning, product lines, building a business that doesn't rise and fall based on the latest keyword panic. You can learn more about Crochetpreneur or you can learn more about Crochetpreneur Business Academy at crochetpreneur.com/waitlist. And I would love to see you inside the program when the doors open. And also remember that the Crochet Sellers Summit is coming up July 15 through 17, 2026. And you can learn more at crochetsellerssummit.com. So, sorry, sellers with an S. Okay, thanks for listening to Crochet Business Chat. I'm going to go check out the comments, see if you have any questions or comments, and we'll go from there. So I'm going to stop my share. Where are we here? There we are. Okay. So I do see someone mentioned that they had no idea this was trademarked. So it's really important. There was a time when I didn't understand the whole trademark thing either, and I made some errors in this area, but quickly fixed them when I learned, like, we're not supposed to do that. So it's not like people are making, well, some are, but it's not like most people are making conscious decisions of like, hey, I'm going to go hop on someone's trademark and try and steal business from them. Like that's not what people are doing. Some people are, but most of them aren't. So it's just and the thing is that you didn't know that you didn't know. So, I had no idea this was a thing. Let's see. I have a YouTube tutorial that's gotten a lot of views due to this trend. Finally saw the movie a couple days ago. That's fun. Okay, this has so much great information and questions to ask myself. Thank you for sharing. Awesome. Enjoy the beautiful weather. Yes, you're here. I was in Pueblo just the other day. Yeah, it's been beautiful. So nice. Our air conditioner somehow doesn't work in the day. It only works at night. So our days have been warm here, but nights have been okay. So Bonnie says, love this. Great way to work through products to add for a new idea, really. Yeah. So this strategy for any trending product or any product you want to build, you can use to build wisely instead of just creating something without understanding why it actually works or doesn't work for your business. Is it important to have insurance for toys like this? I think if you have a business, you should have insurance, especially if you're selling physical products. Designers, maybe not so much, but if you're selling physical products, you should have insurance. The insurance I use is through a company called Hickox, Hicox, and it's like $300 a year. It's really not outrageous. I was afraid it was going to be outrageous, but it's really not bad. And they cover like $1 million in liability or something like that. Their customer service has been amazing. You can just call them and get your account set up. But yes, if I was selling anything that could cause a liability for me or my personal finances, I would for sure have insurance. And then also, if you're selling physical products, I really do recommend that you have an LLC so that any liability claims that are made against your business don't come after your personal property, like your home and your car and those kinds of things. So, yes, get insurance. All right. I hope that was helpful, everyone. Enjoy making whatever it is that you're making for your upcoming holiday sales season and your summer sales season. And thanks for being here. And if you're watching live, again, be sure to subscribe, like, do all the things. And if you're watching on replay, do the same and comment. And I'll be back to answer your questions throughout the week. All right. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Thanks for being here. See you next week. Bye.